Now, another interesting article that I saw, and by the way, in case anyone's watching us, watching our videos, don't notice my change in attire or Tristan's. We're totally filming this on the same night. But what matters is that there was, speaking of, we were just talking about the critic of Netflix, talking about how animators aren't being paid well in Japan. Now we actually have a crowdfunding campaign that is actually, what's funny is, as we're talking, well, sadly, it is not funny what it's about because it's about animators not being paid well, and it discusses because there's a lot of horror stories about animators making so little yet they work so much that it's kind of like, you'll work, let's say, like a 20-hour day, and it's like, oh, I can't afford my apartment, and it's like, wait, no, that, like, people talk about in the US how people aren't being paid fair for minimum wage, stuff like that, but that is insane. I know that it happens in the U.S. as well. I'm not saying that, we're living the high life here. But it is crazy to think, like, oh, I have to work so long that I'm basically getting 3 hours of sleep. One
Yeah.
job. Because, I
Right.
mean, obviously 2 jobs is really bad as well. But, and obviously people go like, oh my God, 2 jobs and I still can't make ends meet. But working this one job that, it's a job that obviously they're getting credit for in terms of there being, it's not about, it's funny, it's not that this was about getting credit like in anime or getting a bigger role in, how it's being made. It was just more so that, hey, can we freaking pay these guys more and these gals
Yeah.
more, these people more? And it wasn't a Kickstarter necessarily, but it is a crowdfunding type situation. And I just wanted to look at this. So it already got funded. I mean, we were talking about this earlier with Aria, the animation. We're so good at bumping things. We didn't even have to talk about it before it made its go. I'm sorry, everyone, but the reason why I'm so happy and jubilant right now is because it raised 891% of its original goal in 1 week, and
Yeah.
that's what's cool.
Yeah.
Now, I do have to say though, compared to its original goal, which its initial goal was to raise 110,000 yen, which in the U.S. is $1,002, right? So $1,000 and two. So saying 891%, it sounds huge until you realize it only raised $9,000. Now, compared to its original goal, I think that's amazing. I'm not saying that it's, and of course in Japan that would be 981,000 yen. So I'm not saying that it's bad that it only raised that much. It's just that I think I don't want people to see that it raised this much and think, well, we did it, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, there's ways, and sadly I don't have them in front of me, but there are other ways to try and give to animators, or try to give back to animators. If you have a favorite animator and maybe they have a Patreon or something like that, or there's other ways to fund them directly. Because while I believe that, we should be funding the studios making these shows, because without the studios, then yeah, we wouldn't have the shows, right? That's why I talk about legal streaming and stuff like that, because we do need to focus on the actual studios, but let's not forget that the animators exist as well, and they also need to be paid well. So there definitely needs to be some change in terms of how they're paid, and this is a good start, but I don't want people to look at this and think, well, we did it, mission accomplished, because no, right?
Yeah.
This is just, basically a crowdfunding campaign to say, hey, we should pay them more, we should have a, I guess, a support system, right?
Right.
If people need it, they come into it. The same way I remember, I believe a while ago there was a YouTuber. I forgot what the name of the YouTuber was, but the YouTuber was trying to have a like a group, for lack of a better word, a system in place to try and help people who have to deal with lawsuits, right? In the YouTube community. And it wasn't anything crazy like if you killed someone, obviously, but it was stuff about
Yeah.
like copyright concern and things like that. And because sadly, when it comes to YouTube videos and making certain videos, you might sit there and go, not like with a Nintendo, because thankfully Nintendo is pretty cool, right? If you put up a video saying, hey, we're not a big fan of this X, Y, or Z, right? Not talking about Pokemon. Not talking about Pokemon. We love Pokemon. No, but in seriousness, all right. So but like other companies, where you're like, I think this company might be committing fraud, right? And if you say that, a company can easily take down your video, try to get your account demonetized, and all this stuff. So to fight that in court, right? It's like, YouTubers, do you have the money? And that's what that system was in place to try and do. And it was a big crowdfunding, crowdfunding initiative for that. So this here is trying to do something similar, which is nice, right? But I just want people to remember that, while I think this is needed, and I'm happy that it happened, and when they did raise when it's funny, they ended up, by the time of this recording, they ended up with the 9,000 that I mentioned. However, when you first look at the article, just talking about like how many days were left, there were 28 days left. Now I'm pretty sure there's still a fair amount of days left compared to this recording. So it could earn even more, to be fair. Because it wasn't talking about that the end of it, like it ended with that much. It was just saying that like, wow, as of, yes, 24 days left as of this recording. So it's intense thinking about how much money they've raised. But it's, because you know what I mean, right? When you say over 800%,
Yeah.
it sounds unbelievable.
Right.
Until you're like, wait, that's $9,000. Which, compared to their salaries, I mean, apparently an average Japanese animator salary, right? Just talking, and this is according to something that, according to stats in 2014. Apparently, they started at $10,000 a year, compared to, apparently the average is $40,000.
Right.
So they're making $30,000 less than other people for doing a job that, even though there's talk, people say, oh, well, in Japanese society, it's encouraged that you work more. It's encouraged that you're always on the job. Even after work, you go hang out with your employees and your boss, and you drink a lot, and then you're not even home. And then, it's 6 a.m. the next day, go into work, stuff like that. People talk about that kind of lifestyle, but still, to say that you're still making $30,000 less, starting out, and this is in 2014, not in 1990, not in the early 2000s. This is 3 years ago.
Right.
That is crazy to me. Also, the fact that it's not even like these animators are assured this, because they can be, brought on freelance and stuff like that. So it doesn't even mean that that they're, always going to get this exact salary. Right. And obviously, people have heard stories about death from overwork and stuff like that. So it's not as if, like, to some people who might not know anything about this, they're like, wait, so they're not being paid much. And it's not like, this is some, it's not like this is some job that, people are like, oh, well, it's, they didn't go to school for this, or they didn't do this, or whatever. No. People have to, I'm not saying this, is that other kinds of work, like being a laborer or being a fast food employee, I'm not saying that's easy work, right? But you'll have people try to say to you, like, oh, anyone can dig a ditch, and it's like, yeah, okay,
right,
pal.
Yeah.
Oh, anyone can serve a burger, yeah, okay, pal. But people try to say that. They try to say, well, you don't have to go to school for those professions.
Right.
This, even if people try to put down the arts, this is something you got to go to school for. Right?
Yeah.
Even if you're self-taught, that's still, money that you put into buying this equipment,
Right.
My cousin...
Supplies alone.
Supplies alone. I have a cousin right now that does graphic design, and, I told her something about buying... I think it was like, it was like Christmas or 2 ago. That would be 2 years, Matt. A Christmas or 2 ago, we were talking about getting her something, or something she had gotten, I think, for her birthday or Christmas or whatever. She was like, yeah, it costs like, $100. And I believe it was just like, to some people they would call it like a notepad, right? They would think of it, it's just a sketchbook. But it was something, oh no, it might have been the charcoal for a class that she was talking about.
Yeah.
It's just crazy stuff. So like the amount of money I have to put into this and then be told, yeah, you're making $30,000 less than the average salary in Japan.
Yeah.
And, by the way, you might die from working a lot. So, and in no way am I aiming this at, like, every single studio or every single company or anything like that. I'm not trying to, sit there and say anything negative about them. I'm just saying that animators need to be paid more because they're either dying or unable to pay their bills. And, it starts to make you think about how it's crazy that, how it's crazy that you can have people in the U.S. where they work, they'll say, oh, I work 2 jobs. And you'll clarify you'll make sure that they work two jobs. You'll verify with them. I work 2 jobs. And I'm homeless. And you're like, wait, but that doesn't make sense. Like it does. But, Tokyo, it's not like Tokyo's a cheap place to live.
Yeah.
Right? Compare Tokyo to a place like New York or LA. It's not an easy place, to live. Now, I do want to make sure, though, that everyone knows. This goal will be this goal. The goal of it was to raise the money to split among 3 animators and cover the campaign site costs. So it's supposed to be like a thing where, like, oh, we're gonna give it out via lottery. So it is a bit unlike the YouTube scenario I said, where the YouTube scenario was to cover, that whole thing was to cover like everyone, right? Who would come to them and be like, oh, we need help, right? Then people would pool their money and try to help the YouTuber.
Right.
In this case, it's going to 3 individuals, and that's kind of why, another reason why I was saying this isn't like mission accomplished, we got it done, right? This is just, let's bring awareness to a problem.
Yeah.
Right. In the same way that some people talk about something like, what is it? I can't think of the breast cancer awareness group. Every October, I forgot their name. They post their name everywhere. What's the come on, Tristan, help me. Damn it, Tristan, help me here. Where the help. You have internet. Help. I just snapped my fingers for everyone on the podcast, listening to the podcast. But no, I can't think of the name right now because I don't want to not say their name or say the wrong name. But the point is that they focus on breast cancer awareness and not so much breast cancer cure or prevention, right?
Right.
So my point is that this, while still helping out animators, is not focusing on prevention. It's focusing, in my opinion, more so on awareness. So when you give money to this...
there are many.
I know that there are many, Tristan, but I can't think of the name right now off the top of my head.
I know, and I need more information if you want me to, go find that name. Okay.
Susan G. Komen. That is what I looked up. And of course Tristan would have known right off the top of his head. But yeah, so Susan G. Komen, I'm so sorry, Tristan, he would not have known at all. Tristan, I'm so sorry. But the point is that Susan G. Komen, they focus on breast cancer awareness, not breast cancer prevention or cures, right? Now, granted, they talk about prevention because, again, it's about awareness, right? So just like this Kickstarter in a way, or this crowdfunding in a way, it's focusing on prevention, or awareness. And it is something we should prevent, right? These animators from dying and from starving over the fact that they, can't be paid well enough. So this is focusing on, again, awareness. So I think that it's a good thing to have. I think it's a good thing to, this crowdfunding campaign. I hope that there are more crowdfunding campaigns like it. But I also want to make sure that we don't focus just on this. In the same way that, we do tip people at restaurants, right? But at the same time, we don't sit there and go, yes, that tip will be the only way they make money, right? Like, obviously, we talk about things like raising minimum wage and things like that because we don't just want to rely on, essentially, the kindness of strangers, right? You don't want to just rely on something like a Patreon. You want to have Patreon to help you out and, to connect with your fans and to give your fans different kinds of rewards and things like that. But you don't want to just go, oh, I hope I can make ends meet because of my Patreon, right?
Right.
So I don't think anyone really wants this crowdfunding to be people, animators going, well, I hope I win the lottery, otherwise I'll die, right? So we don't want that to be the case either. But I think it is good to start off with this as kind of a way to bring light to something that I think people have been overlooking for a very long time.